Welcome to the Explainer. So let's dive right in because we've got some great stuff to cover. If you're starting a business in North Carolina and you want a slick professional brand name so you can confidently run marketing campaigns or, finally open that business bank account, you might think it requires this massive mountain of expensive legal work. But here's the secret. Making your business name official costs exactly $26 and requires filling out just a single, simple form. Today, we're going to break down the exact process of registering a DBA in North Carolina. To make sure you can conquer this bureaucratic process with absolute confidence, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with what a DBA actually is, the legal realities, and the 3 steps to register. Then we'll complete the form together, look at some common mistakes, and wrap up with a summary and disclaimer. All right, Section 1. What is a DBA, or assumed business names? Now, you've probably heard of a DBA. It commonly stands for doing business as. But under North Carolina law, the precise terminology is an assumed business name. Filing this certificate is essentially a legally recorded notification to the public. Basically, you're raising your hand and telling the state and your customers that you are conducting business under a name that's completely different from your true official legal name. Let's put this into perspective with a quick example. Imagine a sole proprietor named John Doe. John doesn't want to answer his work phone saying, "Hello, John Doe." He wants to sound like an established professional outfit, right? So he decides to operate as Queen City Plumbing. To legally do this, he needs an assumed business name certificate. And this isn't just for branding, it's absolutely crucial for banking. If a customer writes a check to Queen City Plumbing, John's bank will literally demand to see that recorded DBA certificate to prove he owns the name before they let him deposit those funds. Moving right along to Section 2, legal realities and benefits. So here is a massive point of confusion for beginners that we need to clear up: the difference between a DBA and an LLC. A DBA is strictly a marketing and branding tool. It basically operates as a mask. If you're a sole proprietor and someone sues your DBA, well, they are still suing you personally. It provides zero asset or liability protection. An LLC, on the other hand, is a distinct legal entity that actually shields your personal assets from business liabilities. You can totally have an LLC that uses a DBA for a new product line, but just remember, a DBA is just a name, not a legal shield. Let's run through a few more key truths about these in North Carolina. First off, if you use a different name, it's legally required to register it. In fact, you could face a misdemeanor for intentionally failing to do so, and nobody wants a criminal record over a $26 form. Speaking of cost, it's incredibly cost-effective. The standard recording fee is just $26. Third, they are perpetual. They never expire, so no annoying annual renewal fees. But, and this is a big one, filing a DBA does not guarantee you exclusive trademark rights to that name across the state. It just legalizes your use of it. Okay, Section 3. 3 steps to register. Here is your DBA roadmap. We love a good, straightforward process here, and this is as easy as it gets. Your game plan consists of 3 actionable steps. Step 1, search name availability. Step 2, fill out the assumed business name certificate. And Step 3, file and pay. Let's look at Step 1. Before you touch any paperwork, you've got to make sure your desired name is actually available. North Carolina uses a rule called distinguishable upon the records. That just means your name can't be too similar to an existing entity, or the state will just reject it outright. So you'll jump on the North Carolina Secretary of State website, the SOSNC, and use their free assumed business name search database to verify the coast is clear. That brings us to Section 4, completing the official form. Okay, here is the actual assumed business name certificate authorized by North Carolina General Statute 66-71.5. It's wonderfully simple, literally just 1 page. You start by listing the assumed name you want. And here's a really cool feature. You can actually register up to 5 assumed names on this single form, as long as they're all owned by the exact same real person or legal entity. That saves you from paying multiple filing fees if you're launching several brands at once. Now pay attention here, because these are the fields where people mess up the most. For the real name of the person or entity, you have to be exact. If you're an LLC or a corporation, you absolutely must provide your exact registered name and your SOS ID number. That's the ID the state gave you when you formed. Also, for your principal place of business, North Carolina has a strict rule. P.O. boxes are a hard no. You have to use a physical street address, although you can add a separate mailing address on the next line if you need to. Okay, this next bit is kind of my absolute favorite part of the whole form, and it's thanks to the modernized 2017 Assumed Business Name Act. Before 2017, if you wanted to operate across the state, you literally had to file a DBA in every single county, paying a fee every time. No way, right? Today, you just file this one certificate in one local county office, and you check a little box that says all 100 North Carolina counties. Boom. That one check mark instantly covers your brand statewide. It is a massive time and money saver. Section 5. Common mistakes to avoid. Let's make sure you don't fail your DBA. Let's rapid fire through the biggest DBA fails that will get your application delayed. Number 1, skipping the SOS and DC database search and getting rejected for a name conflict. Number 2, stubbornly trying to use a PO box for your principal address. Number 3, assuming your $26 DBA means you legally own the name forever and no one else can use it. Again, not a trademark. And number 4, this is a major legal no-no, illegally using restricted suffixes. If you are just a sole proprietor, you absolutely cannot stick LLC or Inc. at the end of your DBA name. It's deceptive and strictly prohibited. Finally, Section 6, Summary and Legal Disclaimer. Let's recap this whole shebang. Getting a DBA is a simple 3-step process. You'll take your completed form, along with your $26 filing fee, and submit it to the local Register of Deeds in the county where you operate. Once they record it, they beam the data up to the state level. And best of all, your NC assumed business name is perpetual. It's a one-and-done administrative task for the lifespan of that brand. But before we send you off to conquer the business world, a quick reminder, this explainer is strictly for educational and informational purposes. Business structures carry serious legal and tax implications, so we always highly recommend consulting a licensed attorney or a CPA for specific advice tailored to your exact situation. Well, as you've seen, this process is incredibly simple and accessible. For just $26 and a one-page form, you can legitimize your brand, satisfy the banks, and step confidently into the marketplace. You've got the tools right in front of you. So the only question left is, what will you name your North Carolina business legacy? Thanks for hanging out with us for this explainer, and we will see you next time.